Well, hello, welcome back. Thanks again for watching. I don't know why my hands are there. Today we have a video that I have been thinking about for a long time. We are duping high-end products, my favorite high-end products, and we're going to be doing my favorite kind of video, which is a side-by-side comparison. So before we jump in, I just want to say the shades might be a little off. I tried to get them as close as possible, but just sometimes it's not possible. I didn't want to go out and spend a fortune. I did spend some money to get some things, but for the most part I had all of the dupes, and so I wanted to kind of just do it side by side. So again, shades may be a little off, but the whole point is that you can find a reasonable dupe for some of these high-end or luxury products. So without much further ado, because this might be a long video, let's get going. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, you know, send a prayer out for me and my face. All right, let's go, guys. Okay, hair's up. So I have sunscreen all over my face. I'm not gonna have like a dupe for sunscreen because I don't think you should be duping sunscreen. I think you should just use ones that work for you and that give you the most protection. So that's that. The first thing after sunscreen we would do typically is primer. I only have one primer just because I don't tend to use it a lot or ever, but I really like this one, and this is the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. I also have the, where is it? NYX Pore Filler one. I don't like the texture of that. I don't see a big difference than this one. And yeah, I think that one's even a little bit more expensive. This one is great, especially if you are trying to blur any pores. If you're trying to blur any pores. And I feel like it just kind of gives you like a smooth canvas, right? That's the point of a primer. So I just go over the T-zone. I actually do under my eyes a little because that's where I have some fine lines and wrinkles. Actually, this eye has like, I had an allergic reaction a long time ago, and it's never been the same. It's just like has these ingrained lines, so that's fun. The next one that we have to dupe is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Obviously this is a very popular high-end product. The one that I've found to be a good dupe for that is this Flower Beauty Heatwave Bronzing Essence. It's gonna be kind of messy, but we're gonna do it. And I think the reason that people like one of the reasons that people like this Hollywood Flawless Filter is because it has such an easy application. And you just, I don't know. There is something to be said for not having a huge mess. Now, this one is a mess, but we'll get to that. For the Hollywood Flawless Filter, I tend to use my hands. You can use a brush, of course, a sponge as well, but it'll soak up quite a bit of product. You can do it all over your face, you can do it on high points, you can mix it, you know, do whatever it works for you. On the other side, we have the Flower Beauty Heat Wave. This stuff is kind of messy, so I'm gonna be very careful. Also, a little goes a very long way. I do find that this one, since there are no shades, so it's just kind of, it gives you more of that like really bronzed look, whereas for the Hollywood Flawless Filter, you can find one closer to your skin tone, so it doesn't really have like that bronzing effect. But this was really the closest thing that I could find at the drugstore. It does give you a really nice bronzed look, but I would recommend just use a little and then go in, because you can see, well, I can see, this side is a little bit more bronzed, so I might need to add more of the Charlotte Tilbury. Okay, we're looking good. So I think this is a really great dupe. So if you don't have a ton of money, or you just don't feel like spending the money, which is totally fair, I would say that this would get you there. And now for my most difficult dupe. I attempted to dupe MAC Face and Body. This is the new version. This is the Studio Radiance. I will link above my video on that. I did a whole rundown kind of comparing it to the old one. I think it's pretty helpful. You be the judge. This is a cult classic. I have looked far and wide for a dupe, and to be honest, I don't think you can really dupe this one, because this does have this technology in it where by using your hands and the warmth of your hands, it sets on your face, and it makes it really transfer proof, and it just gives it this really natural finish, and I just don't think there's anything else out there. But my main goal was to find something with similar coverage, similar finish, and for an affordable price. So that said, we have the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This stuff is beautiful, and I believe it's $5. So I'm going to show you what they both look like, but just keep in mind, it's really hard to dupe this one, and unless you guys know of a great dupe, please let me know, and then I would be so happy. But we're going to try this one today. And I'm just doing a light coverage, mainly because I already put the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter on. That's such a mouthful, but I just also don't love super full coverage, so that's what we're doing. Next up, and I have this in the shade, does it have a shade? Light medium. The MAC Face and Body I have in N3. This stuff has really, really beautiful coverage and finish. I wouldn't say it's a full coverage, but it's definitely not light. I forgot to put my ring light on. Sorry. So this is a little bit better light, but let's just do a little bit of a close-up of the two foundations. So can you see the difference? I think they have both a very similar finish. This one actually, this is the MAC Face and Body side, and I can see my melasma on both sides, and it kind of did the same thing. This one maybe has a little bit more coverage, but also this side of melasma might be a little stronger. They look pretty good to me. Okay, next up we have, ta-da! Nars Creamy, Radiant Creamy. Next up we have, ta-da! Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I have it in the shade Macadamia. And then we have the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and I have this in the shade Medium Peach. So this is actually kind of more my winter shade. I have a little bit darker one in the summer, but we'll see if it works today. Also, my eyes have been just really sensitive lately, so I've been getting a lot of redness all over, and it's not been fun. So if you see redness around my eyes, that's why. And I really should probably blend them in before putting the other on, but that's what we're doing. Okay, I have two brushes that I'm also going to be comparing. This is the, what's it called? Real Technique setting brush. I use this for concealer. And then this is the BH Cosmetics number 4. They're not quite the same, but they're similar. And the BH Cosmetics I would consider a cheaper one because it came in a set, whereas this one comes alone. And these aren't high-end by any means. You can get them in the drugstore, but it's a little bit more expensive, I would say. And so I use a brush a lot of the times. I'm going to be covering my eye a little bit. Oh, those red veins. Just so irritated. So if you've never tried the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, you're missing out, But this e.l.f. is pretty darn good too. I would say it's fuller coverage, and the hydrating, I think it's more hydrating than the original, but it's still pretty full coverage. So if you have dry under eyes, this girl, just be careful about the amount you use. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I have very problematic under eyes. They're not going to ever look great, especially with a lot of concealer or makeup on. But I think this is actually a pretty good dupe. Like, do you see the same amount of coverage? It blends in nicely. I don't have any dry spots. That would be on me. I'm realizing I need to blend. That's just a blending issue on my part. And the price difference is massive. Okay, I'm excited for this one. So I have a new love, which is this cream bronzer, which is the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer in Seychelles. How do you say that? I should know that. Oh my gosh, why don't I know that? Seychelles. I got the mini size because like if I can, I'm gonna try the mini size before like plunking down all the money. And A, I broke it, so I can't open it. But B, it's really good. Like, great. And I think it only comes in a few shades, which is the downfall. You can use a brush. I actually, when it's a cream product, I don't mind using my fingers. I don't. And it blends in really nicely. I do find that it lasts pretty well on my face most of the day. Of course, if you're sweating a lot or like, I don't know, rubbing your face all over, it's not going to, but it does just blend in so seamlessly, and that's why I like cream bronzers. I often go in with my fingers and then a brush just to kind of make sure it's all blended. We're gonna be looking pretty bronzed by the end of this. Look at that sculpting. Speaking of sculpting, I don't actually sculpt or contour. I just don't. So if you do, I don't have a recommendation. But I guess this next one could be kind of a bronzing sculpting dupe. And without further ado, we do have it's called the Wet n Wild Contour Stick. So I guess it is. But I didn't find that it had that color that is normally associated with the contour. So I'm using it as a bronzer. See, I will show you a swatch on my hand as well. That's the Tarte, and then the Wet n Wild. So actually the Wet n Wild is more of a warm shade than the Tarte. This one would be better as a contour even than this. This is quite a bit warmer, but we're still gonna use it. The price difference is pretty massive. This one is a little bit, just not as creamy to blend in, but I can still do it with my fingers, and then once I go in, then I will go in with a brush like I did before. Yeah, so this is definitely a bit warmer. You can see the difference. This side just feels like a little bit more sculpted. Y'all, I look like I just came from the beach right now. I am glowing bronzed. Okay, maybe my favorite thing to dupe and my favorite thing to wear, maybe? Blush. I have two options for you guys. This is actually the reason that I created this video too. So I have mentioned this in another video. This is the Rare Beauty blush. It's called what's the actual name of it? Melting Blush, and I have two shades. I have Nearly Neutral and Nearly Apricot. Today, if I can open it, I don't know why, it's not hard. This is the Nearly Neutral. I'm gonna be applying that. And I don't have the perfect shade match, and that's mainly because I didn't want to get the same shade, because I do want to wear these dupes. I don't want to just like have them for one video and then throw them out. So I wanted to get some shades that I didn't already have. So my other options for the dupes are, we have two. We have the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and this is, does it say what shade? Yeah, it doesn't say the shade. I will put it below. And then we have the Milani, which is the Merlot Moment Cheek Kiss. Okay, if I'm going to have to choose one, I honestly thought I was gonna like this one, but it's a little thicker and like it doesn't have that emollient feel, which I really like about the Rare Beauty one. So if I did have to choose one over the other, I would definitely choose the Milani. This is just a really, really good dupe, and it comes in some really great shades. So if you're in the market, you want to dupe this, which chef's kiss, I love it so much, go for the Milani. You know, there's something about this application where you just stick your little finger in there like that. It's so, that's why I think I like it so much. I mean, the formula is really great as well. And for a cream blush, it does last. So I guess all of those things are why I like it, but there's something about the convenience of just dabbing your little finger in there. We're going in today because I just want you to be able to see the difference. And I might not apply this much normally, but we're doing it today. So I do the same thing with blush. I use my fingers and then I use a little brush. And this is the Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild comes out with some really great brushes. If you rub your finger in it a little, it'll warm it up. And it does look intense on, but I found that most cream blushes, if you just use your fingers and pat it out pretty quickly, it blends in pretty nicely. Wow! These colors actually aren't too off, even though this one looks pretty dark. So side by side, they do look quite different. I think if anything, the Milani has a bit more pigment. So I'm gonna just go in with the Rare Beauty just to build it up so I look kind of the same. Okay, we're doing it all. I'm doing a full-on face, y'all. Over our cream blush, which reminds me, I didn't do a powder bronzer. We'll go back because we're gonna do two different blushes, powder blushes. This, my dears, is the Vive Sunset Blush in Pesca. It's a really beautiful kind of peachy shade. And then of course this is Milani Luminoso. What is it? The Baked Powder Blush. And we're gonna use the same brush. I'm just gonna wash it off after each application and let's see. I brush a little up here as well. And we'll do a little on the eye just to pull it all together. I don't need a lot more blush because I'm already blushed up. This honestly, if you need to do this to clean off a brush, it does it pretty well. Luminoso. This is such a good one. I like the way things are looking. Okay, I looked for powder bronzers and I don't have a dupe. The only one I ever use is the Benefit Hoola one, and this is a mini, like, travel size, and I will never get through it. I think it's just a really great bronzer, and honestly, I'm sure there are a million dupes out there, but this one is a tried and true one that if you're willing to spend a little bit more, just get the trial mini size and it'll last you forever. Dance break! Ooh, look at this necklace. Can you guys see it? Okay, can you see my necklace? This is really difficult. This necklace is by a local creator here in the, like, Raleigh-Durham area, and I will link it below, but she makes the most beautiful jewelry. It's called Beau Femme. Go check her out. Say that Dana sent you. I feel like I'm getting out of breath. I'm having so much fun though, so I hope you guys are too. And next we have setting powder. I forgot the word for a second. This, guys, I don't really like setting powder. I have typically dry skin. I actually kind of fixed that in the last few years. They are too heavy for me and they just leave my face feeling dry and cakey and gross. And I had heard so many people rave about the Charlotte Tilbury, what is it called? Airbrush Flawless Finish. I swear, her names are the most difficult to say. But anyway, I'd heard so many people rave about it and I was like, I just gotta get it. So this is the full size. Comes in a mini, so if you're looking to save on prices, get the mini, but it's really good. So I will kind of be using a dupe for this brush. This is the Supreme Finisher by Bare Minerals. So I can kind of dab it all over my face because, like I said, this is just, there's something magical about it. It reduces shine if you have any shine, like if you're a little too glowy or if you get oily in your T-zone. This really does a wonderful job without making you feel dry and cakey, like I said. As for a dupe, we have two options. We have the Rimmel Stay Matte and the CoverGirl Clean Matte. But these are two, like, raved about powders. So the one I'm going to be using today is the CoverGirl, just because this shade is a little lighter and obviously I am tanned right now. So we're going to use this. And my dupe of a brush is, again, Wet n Wild. I don't know what this one's called, but it's basically like the large face brush. And this one is a really nice powder. You can find it pretty much at every drugstore. It says it gives you more of a matte finish, but I don't think it does unless you're really caking it on. But so far, I'm liking both sides of my face equally. Okay, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're gonna do an eye look, and I say that because I don't really do eye looks, but I have a few options. Now, my two high-end products that I am absolutely loving, Auric, this is the Sam Ravindal one. This is the Smoke Reflect. I have it in Temper and Defiance. Probably use Temper today. That's more of the rose gold shade. It has this cream bronzer, and then on the top, if I can open it, it's got more of a glitter topper. The other thing I have been loving is the Vive Wand. So I have this one in the shade Sand, which is the second from the lightest. So I'm going to be using those two things. And then as dupes, I have the Revlon, what is this called? Cream Shadow Revlon Illuminance. This is Skin Lights. It comes in 4 different shades. And then as the topper, I will be using this Wet n Wild topper. This is an amazing, amazing product. 99 cents. Absolutely amazing. But let's just do it, okay? Now we are going to be using the Auric. And then we'll go back into the Revlon and use this kind of rosy gold. It's not a bad dupe at all. This is gonna be the longest video of my life, but that's okay. Sorry. Stop. Top time. If you could only see my desk right now. It's a mess. Okie dokie. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. And we have eyeliner next. So, this is Marc Jacobs. This is the Fine Liner Ultra Skinny Gel. I have it in the shade Truffled. It's a brown. Very fine, thin line. Don't know why I spent like $30 on it. I must have had like, I don't know. That was crazy. And then this is the LA Girl Glide gel liner. This stuff is great. There you go. Perfect. I'm going to do this off camera because nobody likes to watch tight lining, but just know I'm putting Marc Jacobs there, LA Girl there. So I didn't put a lot on. This is kind of like when I don't want to look like I have eyeliner on, but I do. And this is another example of the dupe being, I think, better. I would prefer this over and over. It stays put. It's really creamy. It's just easy. This one is just ridiculously priced. Next up, we have mascara. And we have two tubing mascaras. So this one is the e.l.f. What's it called? Smudge Proof. I have a video on it and I will link it above. I love this one. It kind of operates like a tubing mascara. For the most part it does, but it's not like as tubing as the Blink or the Thrive. But needless to say, we have the King, and this is their newer Ultra Volume one. I did a whole review on that. I still love this stuff. I wear it all the time, and I'm gonna put it on, and we're gonna see the difference. So this is the e.l.f. This is the Blink. Okay guys, if you're still here, I've actually saved the best for last, but also it's not available anymore. And this dupe has my heart. I bought like 5 of them. They were discontinuing it. And that is my eyebrow gel holder, whatever it's called. Eyebrow gel. So I got the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the high end. This is Brow Freeze. It's like 20 bucks. It's kind of crazy expensive for basically like wax. And then we have another e.l.f. Of course, e.l.f. is like gonna play a pretty heavy role in this because they have some really great drugstore stuff. But this is a Beautifully Bare eyebrow wax, gel, whatever. I can't remember. And like I said, I think it's discontinued. So unfortunately you won't be able to find it. If you can find it, double chef's kiss. But sadly it's not. And I had to include it because I don't use anything else really. And I didn't have another good drugstore dupe. So I apologize, but also if you could ever get your hands on it, it's better hold than anything else out there. And this claims to have the best hold. Not true. So guys, what do we think? I did not put powder bronzer. I don't really do like a normal highlighter. I figure like the Charlotte Tilbury one is enough, and I feel like I'm pretty glowy. But yeah, can you tell a difference? Okay, I'm out of breath. I have a lot of makeup on, but like it looks stunning. But like obviously it looks stunning. No, I'm kidding. And yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up for today. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys all then. Bye.